Hello beautiful people, and welcome to another Galactic Mayan astrology report. So this is the report for Red Dragon on the 15th of December 2020, which is the first wave spell of our brand new 9-month spin. So the cycle that began on the 30th of March 2020 has now completed. It completed on the 14th of December. And we are beginning a whole new 9-month spin now. So we've done the collective pain body surfacing explosion that I feel has been characteristic of the past 9 months. And we're now shifting into a completely different space. Like, where do we go now that all that pain has been put up to the surface, now that all that fear has been expressed and is now externally vibrating as opposed to just being held in the internal realms? What happens next to us as a collective? So this is incredibly aligned because during this wave spell we also have the solstice that happens on the 21st that has got many conjunctions and different magical things that are happening that a lot of people are suggesting is the gateway to the age of Aquarius, which would totally make sense, wouldn't it, with with everything that's been happening. Like, we know our dark night of the souls are our beginnings, are our awakenings, and you know, a lot of people have experienced a dark night of the soul for the first time during this previous 9-month cycle. So what happens next? What's coming into this space? We're on a completely different vibrational frequency now as a collective, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see where we go. So the energy of Red Dragon. Red Dragon is all about nurture, mothering, and presence. So it's the first of the 20 signs, so it's an initiation. So during this 13-day process we get a flavour for what we're going to be working with for the coming 9 months. We get to see the cyclical patterns, we get to see what's coming in and how we've changed and how we've evolved, and the content. You know, it's really profound when you do start to map things with Mayan astrology, because you really get to see the synchronistic force, and then you begin to hone the ability to read the synchronistic force. So as opposed to it just being like, oh, that's an exciting tingly thing that just happened, it's like, oh wow, okay, that's demonstrating that, or that's showing me this. And it's phenomenal to begin to plot the map, and you know, this is a great time to be doing that because we're starting this cycle. So within Red Dragon, it's a red sign, so it's about awakening, but as I say, because it's the first sign, it is the initiation. And the initiation, you know, can be for better or for worse, really. It all depends on how we frame it. So within this 13-day process, the invitation really is to make sure that you have space to be free of future projection and planning. Because the magic of Red Dragon is essentially the notion of being able to make choices without guarantees, knowing that everything that is happening for our greater good. So within Red Dragon, there's this opportunity to go into the void and be held by the void. Go on an adventure and don't know where you're going. Go and put yourself in a space of anything could happen right now, and I've got the spaciousness to be able to follow whatever it is that my intuition is guiding me toward. As a Red Dragon person, this is something that's been very challenging for me because I never really get to see what's coming in a lot of ways, and a lot of the time this notion of planning and making things happen, it doesn't align for me. So that's made it quite challenging a lot of the time within relationships and within building things and within, you know, making plans with people, because I really don't know. But what has come with honing that energy is the ability to say, I don't know, and I can't actually say for sure what's going to happen. But as I say, the other side of this is to be able to consciously put ourselves in the unknown. So if you look at what happened in the previous cycle, the majority of us had plans, had ideas about what was going to be happening for us within that 9-month period. Then the global pandemic happened. Pandemic, regardless of which way you look at it, a huge crisis happened on the planet. And what that did was go, bam, all those plans that you thought you had, bam, all that shit you thought you were doing, bam, gone. No space for that. You're not going to be doing that now. So if we can utilise that learning that we've all experienced now and integrate that into, I'm not actually driving this life. Like, that's not what's happening. My higher self is, and I can have communications, but everything is constantly changing because the energy on the planet is constantly changing. So if we are consciously evolving, we are changing the timeline. We are changing our experience of life. We are constantly in flux, in change. And if we're doing that process consciously, we then have many, many different spaces that open up to us, but our mind will fixate on, I want to go there, I want that to happen, I think that's for me and this is right. But actually the feeling of that's where I'm going toward takes us on a few steps that actually get us over there, which is where we're really going. So the universe goes poof. So what I'm saying within that is that, you know, we are here to be of service in the cosmic plan. You know, we're here to be of service to love. And our primary objective, I would say, from my guidance, is for us to be clearing the conditioning that holds us back from being able to be free, to follow. And this is the interesting thing, you know, this thing that's been coming through loads about, it's all about making choices, it's all about making choices, but the choice is always to follow. Not to follow the other, not to follow another human being, because a human being, we are all, as a humanity, a part of, you know, this level, but we are here to follow this, you know, the cosmic order, you know, the synchronistic flow. So the more that we dismantle our conditioning, the more that we're able to choose, and the choice is to say yes, to follow the niggle. So it's always this following, but it's the choice to be able to follow. And again, this idea of, you know, the human being is always channeling, we're always channeling, but what are we channeling from? Are we channeling from our pain body? Are we channeling from our heart? Are we channeling from our soul? Are we channeling from our guides? Are we channeling from the earth? Where are we channeling from? The more that we dismantle all of the false constructs that have been installed into the human brain, into the human mind, because that's what it is. You know, it's very easy to create constructs that then filter the way that consciousness passes through the awareness. The more that we can take away those constructs, the more that we are then able to choose and to follow. And that's really what this energy of Red Dragon's about, because it is the energy of the Cosmic Mother. And the Cosmic Mother is the loving, nurturing force that is always guiding us. So how, you know, within Red Dragon as well, it's about love, really, and the ability to give and receive love from a feeling of worthiness. The shadow of Red Dragon is often to do with codependence, don't I fucking know it? And this, you know, and what codependence is really about underneath is like this, I am not enough to be loved, so I need to depend on something, whether it's a person or a substance or whatever, to give me that love, because I'm not able to cultivate it for myself, because I don't have a baseline worthiness that allows me to cultivate it for myself. So when we're journeying with Red Dragon, yes, it's about the beginning, yes, it's about having a look to see what's going to be coming in for us in this 9 months, but it's also about exploring our worthiness. How worthy do we feel, and how able are we to receive love and to receive nurture? It's a beautiful time to be diving into self-nurture practice. It's a beautiful time to be really getting to know yourself. It's a beautiful time as well to be visioning into what you would like to cultivate, because this is the, you know, this whole idea that we have of like the dreaming and the bringing things in and the manifestation. Really, the process of that is simply to motivate us. We might have an inkling, we might have the intuition as to what's coming, but the process is really about, okay, well, that's where I want to go, so what do I have to do to get there? Oh, I've got to dismantle my conditioning, so I need to pull out those beliefs. So really this idea of this is where I'm going and this is where what I want is about the motivation for us to dismantle everything that's in the way of that, because then once that's out of the way, it might be that we still go to that point or to that thing or to that person, but it might actually be that there's something even more magnificent that we've not yet been able to perceive due to the conditioning limits that we had. So really we've got this massive spiral all the time that we're moving around, you know, and we are as a collective dismantling and dismantling and dismantling all the time in many, many different ways now. But within Red Dragon, it's really this space to recognise that this dismantling has to be an unconditionally mothering drive, as opposed to the drive of the punishment, of the shaming that a lot of the previous generations were moulded by, perhaps even the generations that are still here now. But I know, like speaking to my grandparents who are both pushing 90, you know, their entire construct of self was built through shame. You know, you can't do it like that, you've got to do it like this, you're not good enough. So what that means on like a mothering and nurturing internal level, that's the energy that they're putting upon themselves all the time to motivate themselves to do things or whatever. So really it's about checking in with like, okay, so what was your experience with your mother? How does that affect your relationship with the cosmic mother and the mother within you? How do you motivate yourself? What does it look like when you're trying to birth something or to manifest something or to create something? It's not about the thing happening, it's about the process that we go through when we're trying to make the thing happen. Is that process loving? That's basically what it comes down to. Is that process loving? Because if it isn't, we've got some work to do. So once we begin to dismantle all of that stuff that's like, no, I need to punish myself, I need to whip myself on the back in order to make things happen. Once we move that out of the way, then we have more space to trust the mother to guide us to where we need to be, to show us what we need to do, and we're able to really receive that beautiful loving force. So I hope that you have a fantastic first wave spell of this 9-month spin and a really wonderful a really wonderful solstice as well. I will be doing a reading for the solstice because there's a lot of energy going on, and I feel over this next 9 months potentially be sharing a little bit more through oracle card readings, because that's something that, you know, my guides have been really wanting to talk more through me, which I've been doing in a Facebook group, but perhaps I'm going to integrate it a little bit more into my channel. But I also just want to say, like, thank you so much for tuning in with me and for being a part of, you know, this past 9 months or even longer, you know, however long you've been tuning into the channel. Like, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the love and the support, and just the community is such a beautiful space. And I also want to give a lot of gratitude for the people that have purchased the diary, because it's something that, you know, I do workshops on Mayan astrology, but the thing that it really brings it to life is your own experience. So this diary is like the baby of all that I've learned, and it means so much for that to be out in the world and for people to be having these like mind-blowing synchronistic experiences as a result of studying their own lives, really. It's phenomenal. So thank you again, and sending you so much love and so much gratitude and all the blessings. Enjoy this wonderful rebirth.